Hi.
I hope this audio works. If it doesn't,
Oh yeah, that. I enjoyed the mature way in which people handled that. What are we on episode 7,000 or something? So we had an audio screw up.
I think this was the first one by far of 2021.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we don't remember the victories, Brad. We only remember the failures. And as some people at least had the class to realize and point out, it's not our fault. I mean, you come up.
this was
No, I mean
Microsoft's
seriously,
fault.
it's crazy. Like how many days yours is worse than mine because you have a complicated setup to deal with. But I mean, I'll install an update, come back, and you'll be like, I can't hear you. And you go into Teams. I haven't touched anything. I haven't unplugged or replugged anything, and
Yeah.
everything's all screwed up.
Well, I should have known, and you'll remember this now as soon as I bring it up. When I initially called you, I was like, Paul, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
And I should have known that my speaker setting was off because Windows installed an update. Why would it be? And then I should have been like, the mic's probably screwed up too. And I didn't think to look because, why would it choose this as the default, even though it's set as the default instead of the webcam? Because whatever. Here we are.
Why would a chosen user setting be silently changed by a computer system? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, good morning.
So, yeah, this is our last podcast for like 10 days or something.
Oh my God, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, thanks for remembering that I'm leaving tomorrow.
Well, bon voyage.
Little tear. Yeah,
I'm happy for you.
This time tomorrow I should be on the road unless something catastrophic has occurred, which knock on wood, hopefully it's not.
Okay.
So
Cool.
we've got that. We can, this won't go live until later today,
Okay,
so we can bring up the...
That's all right. There's nothing to talk about anyway.
Yeah, Paul, why don't we just kick it over to you to talk about the Windows news? And that's enough. So on Teams, there's a new Together mode where they can...
No, that's not fair. If you scroll all the way to the back of the book of news, and I mean all the way back, it's like if you read The Lord of the Rings, it would be somewhere in the appendix for,
I was going to say the
Return of the King
epilogue,
at the
maybe?
end. There's a picture of an elderly woman
He's not making
who
this
looks
up
like
either.
she's trying to figure out like a keyboard for the first time.
He is not making
And
this up.
this is the image they chose for Windows. 'Cause, so each section has its little hero graphic or whatever. Coding is one, and who cares? Anyway.
So I thought that there was, and this is me being whatever, I thought that there was like one small itty bitty bit of Windows news, and that there was going to be, they were going to announce
challenge you to pull that out.
Well, hold on, I thought the only bit of news was going to be the Windows on ARM development kit announced at Build.
Yeah.
And
I
shocking
what the
to me,
hell was that?
Qualcomm announced it yesterday.
Oh man,
I saw that come across. I was like, wait a minute. So
they're going to sell more of those to enthusiasts than they are to developers, and they will still only sell 1,000 of them or whatever. But I mean, I guess it's going to hinge on the price, right?
yeah,
Like if
it really is.
like $500 or less. I mean, it's like maybe.
So for those curious, it's a Qualcomm Snapdragon 7C coming as a development kit that you can order this summer through Microsoft for an unbeknownst price. I'm assuming it's like in the size of like an Apple TV looking thing.
Yeah, it looks like Apple TV. That's good. That's a good comparison. Yep.
And
we don't know anything about it. It
That's
doesn't.
about it.
It doesn't show ports. There's a power button on the top.
mm-hmm.
There's got to be some ports at the back, right? And
What if there weren't?
I know.
Like they just...
Well, there has to be, right? I mean, there has to be. So we don't know, but also, it's a desktop computer. You don't see desktop or Snapdragon computers. That's interesting in its own right? So,
yeah.
But I was just playing around with the Elite Folio, which is that latest HP, Windows 10 and ARM PC, and it's it's fine. I dated, just moving around the UI and everything. The performance is fine, but this is like the flagship processor, right? It's an 888, or no, it's not. It's a 8CX Gen 2. Sorry, and the 7C, as its name implies, is more of it's a step down, right?
I wonder what the C stands for. Not gonna say it. Crap.
Oh, I think it's I don't know. Like they use CX for the 8 one, so they call it a compute platform. I mean, I don't know if it stands for compute.
Maybe the C stands for killer.
Maybe. Maybe. You don't get a lot of hard C sounds outside of Tolkien, but maybe.
Anyway, The other there's some minor team like this is Paul and I would talked about. There's not a lot at Build. There's really
I wrote 3 articles of nothing. I felt obligated. I actually started one about Microsoft Edge, and if you read that part, that thing, it's just what we did this past year.
Yeah.
There is literally nothing new in it.
Their big, I believe, announcement, unless they gave some stuff to other people, which they tend to do, but maybe we'll see, whatever, is the they're finally bringing a GPT-3 product to market. And so that's their natural language model that they exclusively licensed from OpenAI, and they're bringing that to the Power Apps platform. So the idea being like you could scream at the Sky computer. It says, hey, show me all of the kids' toys that are read and sold last month, and then it can take your word vomits, turn it into basically a SQL query, and then return these things.
I threw up my back, and now you're hurting me.
That's exactly what I want to do.
What's wrong with you? Oh, damn it. Anyway, yeah, I think I spent too much time in a car the past 3 weeks. The thing you're talking about, like, I believe this is actually like a no-code thing, isn't it? It's not low-code.
Yeah, it's part of their low-code, no-code suite,
yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
And this will be coming this summer, and so we'll see how this plays out in the Power Apps. That's probably their big announcement, but then there's some minor team stuff, like you can make your own customized together modes if you want. There's new connectors for the graph. There's a bunch of Azure stuff.
I didn't even look at that stuff. I really kind of tried to mine this thing for stuff that would be of interest to, I'll call them end users or enthusiasts, and then developers, what with it being a developer show and all. And I don't care about the cloud stuff per se. And I mean, we tend to focus on client consumer stuff here. So it's not a lot, it's, yeah, I can't expand on that. There's not a lot, unfortunately.
So unless they have some surprises, which they very well could, but the bulk of it is not. There's no Sun Valley. There's really nothing end user computing for that matter.
Quick peek, The show with a highlight reel, like a movie.
Maybe they will, Paul. Maybe they'll say, and one more thing, and then it'll be in June. But
that would it would make a lot of people feel better.
Yeah, but they wouldn't use the Apple thing. They would call it, and something maybe a little later, or something dumb like that.
I feel like they've used something very similar to One More Thing, or even have appropriated it somehow, but maybe not.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I don't know. Apple's One More Thing right now is a court battle with Epic, which is now.
Jeez, we didn't want to, but
yeah, that's that's what Tim should have done on the stage. Be like, look, and now we have like a green iPhone. Just see what the judge would have done, just to announce a product right there during the stage. That would have been perfectly Apple to kind of steal the thunder away from this thing.
That would have been funny.
It would have been hilarious.
Yeah, you had it. I've been reading a lot about this Tim Cook thing, and I hope we can get actual transcript, like the full transcript of this at some point. But yeah, you have to think that guy knew. There was that moment where he was like, "Shit, I'm in trouble."
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No, I mean seriously. Like, and by the way, when anyway, you just have to watch TV shows to know this. We're watching this Netflix show. I always come up with this line every time you see like bad guys, right? The problem with being a bad guy is you can't trust anybody, right? Like good guys, if you're really truly a good guy, and I'm just being very, ones and zeros here. You can trust other good guys, right? They're good guys. But when you're a bad guy, you can't trust anybody, And I have to think like for Tim Cook, like. When you have that realization, because you're doing the wrong thing, right? You're doing the wrong thing. When it's just revealed like that, you don't have like the aura of your marketing prowess on demo here. You have to know you're the bad guy. You have to have that moment in your brain where you're like, everything I say is nonsense. It's marketing. It's not truth. And we're doing the wrong thing. And like this is being exposed to the world. And I just don't understand. I know shareholder value, blah blah blah, but there's a hubris issue with Apple that I think you don't see. I don't see with other companies and their public presentations. Google, Microsoft, Amazon, even. I'm trying to think who else might fall into this category. I guess that's it. And even we mentioned that Amazon book I've been reading, or I've done reading. there's a lot in there where they argue internally against advertising on their site, which they eventually did do because they were legit concerned about the customer experience, right?
Yeah.
You know, they know that people pay for this Prime thing, and they want those people, and they want all their customers to have like a great experience. That's why they do 2-day and now next day shipping and same day shipping in some cases. I mean, it's all about doing the right thing for the customer.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what you want to hear as a customer, as a consumer. It's not always, it's more bottom line oriented. Anyway, Apple just, I think, goes out of their way to present this public persona that's so unrealistic. It just seems harsher when they're, exposed like they were, I think, in this trial. With Microsoft, it was horrifying to me because it was all secret stuff at the time. But then you kind of come to understand, like, if you know anything about the history of Microsoft, like, this company was ruthless, right? I mean, that trial, if anything, was overdue by that point. So I think this one is too.
One thing to keep in mind too here is that this isn't an antitrust trial. This is a civil, and the judge started to like comment on there, like, look, like, what do you expect me to do? Like, I can't order Apple to change their business model because that would be an overstepping of the boundary of the courts. And so it kind of comes back to like, what is Epic actually going to get out of this? Are they going to get damages out of this?
Which is what they don't want.
Right. They don't need the money.
Specifically, they're not going after money. In fact, they've never asked for damages. They've made a point of saying that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So like, and the judge quite bluntly said this, like, so what do you want out of this? Because at the end of the day, it's a civil court. It's not a antitrust trial. So
we'll see. We'll see.
It will be interesting, much like my road.
Right. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah.
This opens up Apple to being sued by other developers for the same exact problems, and it could factor into future antitrust cases too. So,
yeah, we'll see things that will factor in. I've got a massive road trip tomorrow in the golf cart, which will be fun.
See, that car I could appreciate. I could just lay that thing back,
Well, you're not supposed to.
I shouldn't joke about that. I'm sorry. People,
you are the problem throughout.
I am. Is this guy? No, it's not me. My back is killing me. Officer.
Sorry, I didn't see the semi. The computer in the car was supposed to see it, but my back felt great, and because I was laying on my back, I actually just went right under it. Like
exactly. Ironically, even though I've been in an accident, I still feel better.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll be back. I think I can't remember if we're doing it the 7th or the 8th because we've got something on the 7th. So we'll be back.
Wow, we are literally. So wait a minute. So you're going away this week, and then you're going to be gone all next week as well?
Yeah. So I'm going to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, technically, we could do it in the second half of this week. Like, I'm not off. I'm going down to George's place to do some work. And
all right. Well, if anything important happens.
Yeah, I don't know if this Surface Laptop 4 can handle it, but there's only one way to find out.
Right. Just don't compute and drive. That's all we ask.
Compute and drive.